A major development in the NCAA about student athletes being paid. Find out more with Susanna Serrano.
And coming up, find out what prizes an SDSU alum got for winning the World Series.
And where is the scariest haunted house located? Entertainment will have more.
And it's cooling down here in San Diego. Want to know more? Stay tuned to find out what to expect and weather. Newscene starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to the November 1st edition of Newscene. I'm Ayo Elise.
And I'm Kenyatta Rigmaiden.
Fires are raging up and down the state, and California is bracing itself as red flag warnings continue. Firefighters are battling fires in the Los Angeles area, with the Getty fire still burning as new fires have erupted overnight north of LA. Earlier in the week, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library was threatened as flames reached its perimeter. In Northern California, conditions are improving thanks to subsiding winds, but thousands are still under mandatory evacuation orders.
Now to Washington and the latest on the impeachment inquiry. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the inquiry will not be just about the Ukraine matter, but it will be part of it. The House of Representatives voted Thursday morning to push the inquiry forward to its next phase. With a vote of 232 to 192, the inquiry now can include public hearings and cross-examinations of witnesses by the president's legal team.
U.S. Representative Katie Hill of California has resigned after an ethics probe was opened. Reports of an affair between her and a campaign staffer led to her resignation, but the 32-year-old freshman did not leave quietly. Hill complained that the double standard for female politicians forced her resignation. Hill's final action was to vote in favor of the impeachment inquiry.
A former Trump campaign advisor who pled guilty in 2017 for lying to the FBI says he is running for Congress in California. George Papadopoulos filed paperwork to run as a Republican in California's 25th district following the resignation of Democratic Representative Katie Hill. Papadopoulos expected to face a crowded field for the congressional seat.
A federal judge has blocked the Alabama abortion bill known as the Human Life Protection Act that was scheduled for November 15th. Judge Myron Thompson blocked the bill that would have outlawed abortion almost entirely in Alabama. But 314, that's the bill, is the most restrictive abortion law and threatens doctors with felony charges for performing them. The bill also restricts a woman's right to make reproductive decisions and defies the United States Constitution.
And now to the UK, where Brexit is delayed again for the third time in 4 years. The date has been moved to January 31st of next year. The UK is divided between staying and leaving the EU, causing conflict and non-civilized actions. The hate crime rate has risen since the negotiation of 2016, ranging from verbal abuse to murder. For the moment, the UK will still be a part of the EU.
And now for that major development in the NCAA about student athletes being paid. Here's Susanna Serrano with more.
Thank you, Kenyatta and Ayo. We start tonight with big news for college athletics, a month after California passed a law allowing the state's athletes to be paid. The national governing body, the NCAA, is following suit in a recent anonymous vote. The NCAA will start the process of modifying its rules to allow college athletes to profit from their names, images, and likeness.
Enthusiastic about what the board has done. It's in a very important step toward modernization of NCAA rules to provide more opportunity for our students. So that's an inherently good thing for everybody. Figuring out all the details of it's going to be a challenge. It's a much more complex issue than most people see it as, and I understand that. But I think that the schools are going to be able to work through this process and come up with rules that make great sense for the student athletes and allow universities to continue their collegiate model of athletics. That's what we're all trying to do here.
You may remember that California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law allowing student athletes to get paid for endorsements earlier this year. That bill was set to take effect in 2023, making California the first state in the nation to allow student athletes to receive compensation. The NCAA strongly opposed California's Fair Play to Play Act if threatened to sue the state and prohibit California colleges to compete in NCAA events. Now in NCAA President Mark Emmert says he's very excited about the board's decisions, but there's still a lot of details that have to get figured out. That will be the big challenge. There is a long list of changes that the NCAA 3 division will need to make. They will need to make clear the distinctions between collegiate and professional opportunities compensation for playing for a team and winning a championship will also not be allowed. The NCAA also says it doesn't want to harm efforts for diversity, inclusion, and gender equity. Michael Drake, Chair of Board and President of Ohio State University, says that students are students and not employees.
Our students are students. They're students first. They come to school to get an education. We support them, and that helps to prepare them for the future. They're not our employees. We're not paying them for what they do on the field, and we want to make sure we maintain that distinction. We want them to be students and not employees of our universities, and we think that's in the best interest of all.
That is all for me tonight. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks for that report, Susanna. Wow, it's amazing they can get paid in college. Wow. And coming up in sports, find out which female wrestlers just made international sports history.
And is winter returning? Shonda has more in entertainment.
Please have a seat.
I know I'd like to get paid.
I'll be honest. Your resume, not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
San Diegans are donating to families in Mexico who've lost homes in fires burning in northwest Baja California. Fires near Tecate, Tijuana, Rosarito, and Ensenada have killed 3 people. And over the weekend, more than 200 homes were destroyed. You can donate to the efforts going to relief the folks who are suffering here. Now, the GoFundMe that was created was by a San Diegan who wanted to do everything that they could to support those in need.
And a lawsuit has been filed against vaping startup Juul by one of its former executives. The one-time finance executive claims the company shipped out 1 million contaminated e-cigarette pods and later refused to recall them or even give out a safety warning. The former employee says he was fired for raising the alarm on safety issues. Juul called the claims baseless, according to the CDC. The number of deaths tied to vaping is 34.
The CEO of troubled airplane maker Boeing has faced Congress and the families of those killed in recent plane crashes this week. Boeing's 737 MAX was involved in 2 fatal crashes, leading to the worldwide grounding of the plane. Family members of the victims held up photographs of their loved ones killed in the crashes during the CEO's testimony to the Senate.
The San Diego County Board of Supervisors has approved a new behavioral health facility in Hillcrest. The Health Hub is a collaboration between UC San Diego Health and other organizations. The project is expected to cost around $110 million. When completed, the facility will offer services like inpatient and intensive outpatient care. Supervisor Nathan Fletcher hopes to reach an agreement by January.
And to Chicago, where the teacher strike in the city's public school district has finally ended. Over 300,000 students returned to class today, greeted by teachers and officials. The longest strike since 1987 kept kids out of school for 2 weeks. The top issues were the need for smaller class sizes, pay increases, and more staff. Teachers will see the results of the agreement made with city officials by 2023.
Former President Barack Obama made a public appearance this week. He's speaking to young people about social media and an alarming trend with roots in intolerance. Obama called it cancel culture. It's when social media users call out people for past mistakes or for having opposing views. He said actions like that do not bring change and encourage uncompromise.
Twitter's CEO is refusing to run political ads. He's saying influence and message reach should not be bought, but earned. The announcement came after Facebook refused to ban political ads, refusing to censor user speech. Facebook has been criticized for allowing ads from politicians without fact-checking. TikTok was the first major social platform to remove political ads.
And in other Facebook news, the social media giant has agreed to pay a fine for the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The UK Information Commissioner's Office found the social media giant failed to safeguard user data gathered by political data firm Analytica. Facebook will pay just $645,000 and denies any additional liability.
Houses and cars are getting cheaper to buy, but is that a sign of trouble for the economy? The Federal Reserve cut interest rates by a 1/4 percentage point Wednesday to offset a slowing economy. The rate cut is the third since July and has resulted in a boost in the housing market. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said the step was taken to help keep the U.S. economy strong.
San Diego State University has increased its offer to buy SDCCU Stadium and the land it sits on from City of San Diego. In a letter sent to Mayor Kevin Faulkner, SDSU President Adela De La Torre offered to buy the stadium for $87.7 million. This new offer comes weeks after the university's first offer of $68 million. The City Council will review the new offer on November 18th. And, you know, there's some exciting news in wrestling and baseball and basketball. What have you got for us, Yakira?
Thanks, Kenyatta and Ayo. Washington, D.C. is still celebrating the Nationals' incredible World Series run. For the first time in franchise history, the Washington Nationals are the World Series champions. The team returned home last night to a hero's welcome, and a parade near the Washington Monument is scheduled for tomorrow. Leading the way will be SDSU alum Steven Strasburg, who was named the World Series MVP. The trophy is nice, but the West Hills grad also took home a new Corvette. Moving on to football and another championship team, New England's head coach is making history in the NFL by reaching his 300th career win. Bill Belichick reached the career milestone after the Patriots defeated the Cleveland Browns 27-12 Sunday night at the Gillette Stadium. The win improved the team's standing to an 8-0. To honor the head coach's achievement, Patriots owner Robert Kraft presented Belichick with the game ball. Belichick now stands with George Halas and Don Shula as the only coaches to reach that mark. Now, for history on the other side of the globe, the WWE has held the first women's wrestling match in Saudi Arabia. World Wrestling Entertainment stars Lacey Evans and Natalya faced each other in the Crown Jewel pay-per-view event earlier this week. The event was held at the King Fahd International Stadium in the country's capital. Last year, World Wrestling Entertainment was criticized for signing a 10-year deal to hold matches in Saudi Arabia. Women there were only allowed to start attending sporting events 2 years ago and were allowed to drive only last year. The WWE hopes the matches show that women deserve the same opportunities as men. And now to golf. Tiger Woods has solidified his standing as one of golf's greatest, tying Sam Snead in PGA Tour wins. Woods captured his latest victory at the Zozo Championship in Shiba, Japan. His 82nd win on the PGA Tour tied legend Snead's for most wins in tour history. A day before his historic win, a picture of young Tiger and Snead surfaced on Twitter. The caption, 82 Club, captured the hearts of fans and possibly even predicted his victory. The 43-year-old returned to competitive play and won after a recent knee surgery. And closer to home, the regular season of high school football here in San Diego County is wrapping up tonight. Tomorrow, the playoff brackets will be determined, and already the predictions are in. According to Max Prep's Excellent 25, coming in number 1 is Cathedral Catholic with an 8-1 record. Number 2 is Helix High School, which also has an 8-1. The Highlanders, though, will face one of their toughest games tonight against Steel Canyon. The undefeated Cougars are playing this one at home, and you can bet Steel Canyon wants to prove they deserve a higher ranking than number 6. Well, we'll keep you updated with the results. That's all that I have. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks for that, Yakira. That sounds fun. And we have some good news for Game of Thrones fans. The watch is not over, and our very own Shonda will have more on entertainment.
Absolutely. And Gaslamp has something scary planned this Halloween. Stay tuned for more.
After the break.
After the break, definitely.
Not anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Newscene and City College Student Media were big winners at the San Diego Press Club's 46th Annual Excellence in Journalism Awards.
Newscene won for Outstanding College Newscast, while our own Yakira Delgadillo was honored for Top Feature News Package. City College student Chad Francis was also awarded a scholarship. In all, City College took home 17 honors. Congratulations to all the winners.
And now we have Liddy Kina with more about one of the oldest Halloween parties in San Diego. San Diego Zombie Crawl, an event that started in the spooky Gaslamp Quarter in 2005. All right, well, it looks like we're going to be moving on to our next segment. So why don't we find out what's happening in entertainment, where we start, unfortunately, with losing a legend. Shonda, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Ayo and Kenyatta. Tonight, we are starting with sad news as television has lost an icon. 77-year-old stand-up comedian and actor John Witherspoon died in his home in Sherman Oaks. Witherspoon is famously known for his role as Ice Cube's dad in Friday and Pops on the Wayans Brothers. Witherspoon is survived by his wife Angela and sons JD and Alexander. Now for some good news. Kevin Hart is opening up about his recovery from a serious car accident on Instagram. Hart follows himself as he goes through fought physical therapy and doctor's appointments after his spine was fused together in 3 places. Hart was one of 3 people in his 1970 Plymouth Barracuda when it crashed near Hart's LA home. Hart says he is thankful to still be here and says his accident has forever changed his life. And I have great news for Game of Thrones fans. A new prequel is coming to HBO. The show will be set 300 years before the original series and tells the story of the House of Tarragon. The House of Dragons project will mark HBO's first official follow-up to the Emmy Award-winning series. Now, Tennessee and Alabama is making news for the scariest haunted house. Warning, the next video is graphic. A petition is circulating to shut down an extreme haunted house. McCamey Manor is described by some as a torturous chamber in disguise. To enter, guests must be 21 years old, able to pass a physical, and sign a 40-page liability waiver. To date, the petition has about 90,000 signatures. Now from HBO to Howard, you heard it right. Howard University and Amazon Studios are launching Howard Entertainment. The historically black university and internet giant are creating a program to diversify the talent pipeline into the entertainment industry. Students will work closely with Amazon Studios for 2 semesters in Los Angeles, allowing them to get hands-on experience in all aspects of the show. The program is set to begin in January. And finally, Amazon and Netflix have a new competition. Apple TV launched its streaming service in over 100 countries today. You can now watch the original series and exclusive movies made just for Apple. Apple's big selling point is it won't have any ads and TV shows will air twice a week. The monthly cost is $4.99, but new customers can get a year of free service if they buy a new Mac product. That's all we have for entertainment. Back to you at the desk.
Just go.
Now, Kenyatta, do you dream of tiny flying machines delivering your next meal to you? Well, let's stay tuned after the break to hear more about that.
Okay, sounds like a good idea. And this weekend, it might be a good time to stay in bed a little bit later because it's going to be cold in the morning. We'll talk more about that after the break.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Nice snuggly coffee and everything.
You know, breakfast in bed never hurt either.
Queen is just my everything.
His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Now, Uber Eats will soon begin using drones right here in San Diego. Can you believe that? The company revealed their new delivery drone at the Forbes 30 Under 30 event in Detroit. The drones will fly for around 12 miles, but the drones will not deliver food straight to your location. They will only have a pickup and drop-off location for drivers to then complete the order. San Diego's first deliveries by drone will take place this summer. Now, Kenyatta, I woke up this morning and I noticed it was a little bit cooler than normal. And then on the drive over, the sun got so bright it like burned my eyes. So what's going on?
Well, you know, it's cool right now. It's November, and, you know, that's to be expected for this time of year in San Diego. And it warms up in the daytime and, you know, it cools down at night. It could be a lot worse, you know. We're lucky to have these great temps. We're going to look at a local map, and we're going to show you the warm temps for today. And if you look along the coast, mid-70s. It might be chilly in the morning, but mid-70s, November, that's not really bad, is it? 80s in the inland valleys today. A little bit lower temps as you move to the higher elevations. Mount Laguna coming in at 64 degrees. And, you know, that's not bad at all, if you ask me. Now, I know it's been kind of chilly for us here in San Diego, so the good news is that it's going to warm up over the next 5 days, at least for our overnight low. So we're looking at overnight lows in the 50s, in the low 50s for the next couple of days. But as we move into midweek, we're going to see that overnight low get up to the high 50s, maybe even 60s by Wednesday. And remember, folks, we have daylight savings time, so remember, it's the fall, so we're going to fall back. That's 2 a.m. between Saturday and Sunday, so Saturday night, remember to turn those clocks back. If you're like me, you probably have a cell phone that does it automatically, and that makes us pretty lucky, doesn't it? Okay, so 76 degrees is our high for these next couple of days. Then we're going to drop down a little bit more. You're going to think that things are getting cool, but 70s, folks. Don't go crazy. Okay, so if we look at the rest of the country, we'll see that actually on the West Coast, before we get to the rest of the country, I want to talk more about the fires. We spoke briefly about them earlier, but this is the fire season. We're still not out of the woods yet. We still have some fires. So everybody be careful. And, you know, this is an issue with visibility. We're having haze, and a lot of people are having the problem with their allergies and stuff due to all the smoke. So everybody be extra careful. So now as we look at the rest of the country, we're going to go over some of the temps. So it's fall, and it's cooling down. So we have some temps in the 60s and 70s. If you look at the areas of green and yellow, these are the kind of temps that are kind of nice. I mean, everybody wants to be in Florida with 90 degrees, but we can all wish for something, right? Now, if you look at the mountains, that's the Rocky Mountains in the Midwest. They're having the lower temps. And if you look at tonight, things are going to cool down significantly across the whole country. So keep in mind, it's that time of the year where things start to cool down. And we're lucky that it's not going to cool down like the Rocky Mountains. But the East Coast is really going to be impacted by this cool down. If you look at the next slide, it looks like we have a cold front moving through, so they're going to have a freeze over there. We're going to have some rain and snow in the Great Lakes, but that's all the time we have for weather. Let's go on to the next story for our news show.
Well, thank you, Kenyatta. And finally, tonight, going viral is a conversation between a dad and his child where some crazy potty training thing. You would not believe it. Did you see it? Well, that's it. That's all we have for Newscene tonight. I'm Ayo Elise.
And I'm Kenyatta Rigmaiden.
And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Oh.
Okay.